everybody. Welcome to a spring 2014 S.W.A.T review. My name is Kate, otherwise known as Narataki.
And I'm Alan, otherwise known as C-Suite.
We are from ReverseThieves.com. You can go there to get other S.W.A.T reviews, our monthly Speakeasy podcast, as well as 3+ blog posts every week.
This time we are looking at Baby Steps from Studio Pierrot, and it is streaming on Crunchyroll.
This is one of the new sports offerings of the season, and it focuses on tennis, boys tennis mostly, although we do have a female lead who inspires the main character, A-chan, to play tennis. I think, she's like the biggest factor in the first episode to getting him interested in playing.
And he is pretty much the straight A student. In fact, his nickname, A-chan, comes from the fact that he is so methodical that he always gets A's, and everybody likes to copy his notes because they are practically machine printed, even though he does them by hand. And, he basically goes to cram school and all this stuff, and he's like, well, I have a free Wednesday, so I should take up a sport so that I remain physically fit.
And everybody sort of jokes around in the first episode that he acts like an old man because he's very regimented, he's very scheduled, and then this idea like, I should take up a sport so that I don't lose my physical fitness on Wednesdays. And so that's kind of a joke with everybody. And so he picks up this flyer, there's free tennis lessons, like a free trial at the tennis club in town, and so he goes there and ends up running into the idol of the school. That's how they kind of describe her.
Yeah, Natsu is the most attractive girl in the class, and at one time she recently borrowed his notes and accidentally got food all over it. And so they kind of have at least knowledge of each other. Not really a friendship, but they at least then know each other by name and face.
And A-chan also, because Al, you mentioned getting the food on the notes, he's also very
anal retentive?
Yeah, yes.
Almost OCD.
Yeah, except he didn't seem, he doesn't seem OCD about everything. Like, he doesn't seem to be, it has to be really clean or anything like that. But the way that he does his notes definitely has a really precise manner. I thought this show at least did something smart with the opening scene of the series is actually much later. And he is in this really intense match. And people are kind of talking about him and whispering about how he's only been playing a year. And we see that he has all these notebooks full of notes about tennis on the sidelines. And then we go back to sort of the beginning of it, which was a little bit, I thought that was smarter because the first episode doesn't really have very much tennis in it. And so there's not really that hook.
And he doesn't even play tennis at all. The only tennis we see from anybody is from Natsu. That's a named character. There's a little bit of other people practicing tennis in the background.
So it was mostly, I feel like, setting up some people's relationships, getting him into the tennis club, and the manager woman there, and some of the other younger players and things like that. I don't know. I felt like the episode was kind of boring.
Well, it seems like he's such a robotic, kind of listless character. If anybody was interesting, it was Natsu.
I really liked her.
Because she wants to be a professional tennis player, but she has some reason that she won't tell anybody. Like, she doesn't want anybody at the club or school to know about it. But she's obviously working really hard. She seems to have a romantic interest, although, as you mentioned...
Oh, please. So there's this guy that we only see in the opening, and then you see him in the preview, and after you see him that everybody's like, that guy's gonna be cool, and I'm gonna like that guy. And he's friends with her, and they're walking around, and so people are whispering about them at school, and I was like, well, clearly, since she has spoken to the main character, there's no way she's having a relationship with that guy. I mean, I implore baby steps to shock me, but I seriously doubt it. It'll just be some sort of foil for the main guy, so.
At most, he'll be a love rival as opposed to...
It's not like it's gonna be her boyfriend. I have serious doubts about that.
To bring up something that I noticed since you brought it up, it's really weird because it's almost like I feel like he is the type of character that would be a villain or opponent character in another series. Like the robotic guy who doesn't really have any passion for the sport. He only has his skill and his cold analytics. And then the fiery protagonist defeats him and shows him that he also needs passion and guts to win. And he's like, "You have taught me so much, protagonist. I will now learn to feel like a human the next time we play."
The problem is that sounds like, oh wow, okay, so the character is not who the normal main character would be, but I'm missing that main character with the fire in them. I mean, maybe A-chan can surprise us, but like, also I feel as though I'm actually noticing for the first time possibly how liking a certain sport can make it hard to watch like an anime of that sport, because I was really kind of excited about this. Tennis is the only sport that I follow even remotely, and when I was watching this, I was like, no, like, A-chan is like my least favorite type of player. It's like really, I really hate that precise, methodical,
extremely technical.
Doing it the same every single time. Like, I really don't like that. And so I was definitely having trouble, like, connecting with that, even though it was interesting, like you said, Al, that he's not who you would normally expect to be the main character.
I did notice that, man, especially after seeing, like, the heights of Kuroko's basketball and Haikyuu, how much they, like, poured money into the first episodes of those. This one seemed really cheap. Like, a lot of times, there would be characters in the background who were not moving at all, and it was kind of blatant. Really seemed like an extremely mid-level budgeted show. The character design seemed a little, like...
Well, they're dated.
Yeah.
When did this manga start?
2007.
I'm surprised, because the style of it, to me, looks very, almost 90s. Just like the character design style.
Or even late 80s.
So maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's like influenced by that or whatnot, but I'm kind of surprised that it's not as old as I would imagine. I think that I'm gonna give it a couple more episodes, mostly because I like sports anime, I like tennis. I kind of want to like this show, so I'm gonna give it a shot for at least a few more episodes just to see if it can hook me later.
And if nothing else, I will give, once again, Natsu does seem like a very compelling co-protagonist.
Man, if this show was about her, I would be totally in.
But it's the opening shows that while she doesn't seem to just disappear, she's definitely at most a secondary protagonist, not a co-protagonist. But there was a lot of sports programs recently, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. So if you like sports programs, you can check it out. You should probably go to Haikyuu first. All right, see you guys next time.